All right, it's 10 o'clock. We will call the Sawyer County Administration Committee meeting for Thursday, March 10th, 2022 to order, please. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call?
Lee Chuen,
Here.
Dale Schluter,
Here.
Ron Kisley,
Here.
Tom Duff. Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let the record indicate we have a quorum. Is there anyone on Zoom or online? Mike? No one is on. Certification with compliance of open meetings law, Madam Clerk.
The meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statute.
Thank you. Meeting agenda has been presented. Public comment. I have one paper. Ms. Selmer, can you state your name and address, please?
Linda Zilmer, 902 Holly Hill Lane, Birchwood, Edgewater property owner. And my comments this morning are with regard to the transitioning in the administrative and the finance areas. One thing that would be helpful for future officials and the public is to allocate some county resources to go back and make sure that all the PDF files of agendas and minutes that are contained on the county website are searchable PDFs. Not everything was uploaded or downloaded, or I don't know what the correct term is to make them searchable right now. So to go back to trace history is difficult. Also, in the previous meeting, I had mentioned my review of the legal invoices that were obtained in the open records request, and seeing, large expenditures in different areas. And I guess what concerns me more than the legal fees themselves are all the opinions that were obtained in those communications with the administrator or other department heads, so that the county does not have to go back and ask for legal opinions again. I don't know if there is a provision being made that all those legal opinions are going to be readily available for the next administrator. Also, with regard to the Muni Code work, the cutoff on the open records request ended in June of 2021. So after this meeting, I guess I will be doing a public records request to find out how much has been spent on the Muni Code effort between Muni Code and outside attorneys. And also I'm concerned with the work that's been done to date as I look more into the draft Muni Code, and also the zoning department indicating that they don't want to have their ordinances codified. And then the last item for today is I see on the 14th and the 15th, the meetings with regard to the potential candidates and everything being in closed session. So I'm wondering, does the public have any opportunity to see who the candidates are being considered, as has been done in other counties, as well as will there be a press release to the newspaper to identify the candidates you're considering? So I don't know if you could answer that, but to have everything under closed session, I'm comfortable. Thank you.
I'll get back to you. Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, if not, we'll move on to number 6, approval of our meeting minutes, February 17th, 2022. Any additions, comments, deletions? Okay, motion by Mr. Kinsley to approve as presented, second by Mr. Duffy. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next goes to you, Madam Clerk. Number 7, Veteran Service Department report. Gary?
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
So for February, we had 370 phone calls, 286 letters, emails and faxes, 85 office visits, 14 disability pension claims to date, with $134,433.49 coming in as initial payment for these claims that are decided in the veterans' favor. My training's up to date, so good to go. And got training coming up next month for 5 days, 4.5 actually, taking up to 5, and I should be good for you. So, any questions? Yes,
Mr. Kinsley, yes.
Are you on the move to the new building?
I am. I started yesterday, or we started yesterday. So both places are disaster right now. So I've got I got some veterans doing having one of their last session with the vet center in La Crosse right now, and And after they're done, I'm shutting the doors and moving computers, so I'm pretty much done until I get those computers hooked back up, and that's putting stuff together. But we've got the majority of the stuff I need to work on a daily basis moved over there. Less the electronic stuff. So, it's moving along.
Good, thank you.
Gary, are you happy with this move? I mean, will you be confident that that's a good place or a good fit for?
It is fine for now. I think there's future in a year, maybe another move. I don't think the music stopped. I don't know for sure if that's true or not, but
Gary's moved into one side of the building with, that Oasis moved out of. We've got a tenant on the other half of the building, that's still in there, and we'll work with that tenant. Potentially, that would be a good space for veterans as well, if they didn't want to continue their lease or if you didn't want to extend their lease. But those discussions haven't happened with that tenant yet.
so
That would-
great. We're gonna make it work. Okay, I mean,
Sure.
we're gonna make it work. Had a lot of space, and we're putting it into not a lot of space, but so far it's fitting. And that's okay, because like I said, the building has years of accumulated junk. And it'll be happy to shed it. So as far as the basic, like the group session that's going on right now, we've got a spot for that identified, and it'll be set up, I hope, by in 2 weeks. So if it's not, I've got a place to put them until that's caught up. But maintenance is in a full-on rush right now, getting things cleaned up. I mean, they were painting on, what is this, Thursday? So they're painting on Tuesday. I moved in on Wednesday. And so it has, if we lean any further forward, we're gonna be scratching our noses on the pavement or the ice. So it's moving along. The water was shut off this morning. I didn't know that, but we got to turn back on until noon anyway. So that's how fast things are going. So I don't know how to tell you. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. I think we'll make it work. Okay?
Good. We want to hear how that goes for you for sure.
Yeah, I will tell you this. I am happy that it's a flat. I am happy that people can just, like, our handicap can go right in.
Yep.
And the office is cleaned up, so it's nice. It's not difficult at all, and it's not abnormal. It is, it's perfect, I think, for that, where that building over there did not have that. So.
Great. Do you care to make any comments, Gary, on your budget report?
No, the budget's fine. I did thanks for reminding. We got our CDSO grant that applied, we had to apply for it. What was it, January, December? I sent that in, it finally come back, and so there's $9,350 that for a grant for the year. And so anyway, that's for the CDSO grant. That covers my training. It covers, getting stuff, for the veterans, and it helps pay for my salary. So it offsets that. So it's important that we apply for it every year. And that increase, it used to be $8,500, but they finally increased it after 30 years. It's still backwards in my mind, because the larger counties with more veterans in it get more money, but those are also the ones that are in, like, Milwaukee, Green Bay, the larger populations, more nonprofit organizations down there that you can use to help the veterans as well, not just something that's specifically, veteran specific. And so some of these people, some of them down there, they've got, like, our needy vet grant. We've got $5,000. I asked you to bump that up to $5,000 a couple of years ago. Some of them have like $40,000 in their needy vet grant, for the year. And they don't use it or need to use it too much because of all the nonprofits that they use. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that to me is, you know, and we brought that up to the state, but they still go, no. They've got, you know, 10,000 veterans, you have 5,000, so therefore you get a smaller amount. But the other part of operating up here is we don't have the same, we don't get treated the same in the northern Wisconsin as the southern half of Wisconsin. And that goes for the transportation grant. See, now I'm going off and anyway.
You're doing fine, keep going.
The transportation grant is something that I apply for too, and that will come up in June. I'll have to have that turned in by June. And it basically, it doesn't pay for our operating costs to drive our veterans to Minneapolis and back, but it helps offset it. And we use that, you know, to budget for a new vehicle, to pay the drivers, you know, the gas, operating expenses, tires, what have you. The southern part of the state, they can't apply for a veterans grant or for a transportation grant. And the reason why is because DAV is contracted for the whole southern part of the state. So if I live down in the southern part of the state and somewhere in the rural, whatever, in the county, DAV is going to show up at my doorstep, pick me up and take me to my VA appointment and drive me home. Where we're sitting here fighting for, I don't want to say crumbs, but we're fighting for money because it's a limited amount. More counties that apply for it, you know, the less, the lowers how much you get back to in that decision. So that, you know, that's why I say, you know, it's up here. It's we work a hell of a lot harder than the people down in the south. They get paid a hell of a lot more for not having to work as hard. So anyway, a little bit of pride there.
Yep. Appreciate your thoughts.
Yep.
Gary, have you met the new tribal CVSO?
I have not seen anything released yet at all from the state or.
They've been hired, so you should reach out. It's Russell Barber,
Okay. I know.
Rusty Barber.
Yep, I know Rusty.
Okay, he's our new CVSO.
Okay,
All right,
very good.
and he'll be housed, I think, where Terrence was in the Elder Reserve Center.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Anything else for Gary? Anyone?
Probably do, Gary.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Totally. agree.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, moving on then to number 8, Information Technology Department report. Mike.
So I have a written report. So, yeah, Alex and I will be helping Gary move right after this meeting. So he still wants to do today with computers and all set up.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise, just a lot of other smaller projects going on right now. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Any comments, concerns for Mr. Colson, anyone?
He's been very helpful in building project also. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. All right. Moving on to number 9, elected officials wages, letter A, resolution establishing salaries of and providing health insurance information regarding elected officials. Mike, are you going to take this? Or Rose?
These are the elected officials that are coming up for election, and we need to set the wages for those positions prior to those elections happening. So the first resolution is for the sheriff and clerk of clerks.
Which is that?
Yeah.
It's a percentage.
We have that.
The first year is a $2,000 increase, just a flat amount. And then a 2.75, which is what the rest of the employees are getting in 2.75 in July. And then it's 2% each year thereafter.
Mr. Kinsley.
So the first year is just to get it caught up to what the other counties are probably.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So we're doing them separate.
Pleasure of the board, Mr. Duffy.
I will be approving the resolution.
Okay. Second by Mr. Kinsley. Got a motion by Mr. Duffy, second by Mr. Kinsley to approve the resolution establishing salaries of and providing health insurance information regarding the elected officials, sheriff, and clerk of court. Is there, and this would go on to the full county board? Sure.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number B, coroner.
Next resolution is for the county coroner. That's also an elected position. That one is just separate, just because it's a little bit wordier and structured a little bit differently. So the changes there, the base annual salary went up 1,400, and then they also get the per hour on-call designation, and that is up as well. The death certificate, cremation, and those are the same, and those are set by statute. We can't increase those except minimally, so they've been that amount.
And Mr. Hoff, these become effective following the election?
Yes, it takes effect January 1st of 23, when that coincides with the new date of the newly elected people.
Mr. Schleter.
So with the 1,400 and the percentage, what does that position pay the coroner for a year?
You know that number?
Well, it's a little difficult. Depends on how many certificates are issued. It depends how many on-call hours.
Right.
But I believe for 2021, just the coroner, I believe in coroner's budget, I think it was somewhere around 20,000 is what I think the coroner got himself.
It would be nice if you'd show up at more of the public safety committee meetings.
Is he extra for that?
Probably.
Okay, so we have a resolution in front of us. Pleasure of the board. Mr. Duffy. Motion to approve as presented. For a second, Mr. Kinsley. Motion by Mr. Duffy, second by Mr. Kinsley to approve the resolution to set the compensation for the elected position of coroner for the term beginning January 1st, 2023. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And again, Tom, this will go to full county board, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. All right, number 10, human resources report.
Good morning.
Rose, good morning.
Have a written report for you. The only thing I would add is we are now also starting to recruit for summer mowers and laborers for the highway department. We currently have several open positions. Trying to be creative in how we are recruiting to try to get more applications. So we're going to start advertising. Right now, we post online a lot, and we typically only advertise in the Gazette and the Record. But this time I'm going to advertise in the Spooner one, the Spooner weekend one, and also the Four Seasons on the weekend, just because those are, you don't have to subscribe to get those. So maybe we'll reach a broader group.
Are we getting some candidates for the finance director?
We have received one application for that position.
Okay.
And at the bottom of your report, you put exploring variety of options. Are we using like the technical college presently, or?
Yes, but I'm just trying to push it out further. There's a thing from the UW schools, it's called a handshake, and, you know, we can advertise, we join that and advertise at some of the colleges and stuff, but we're not alone, not getting any
I realize that.
applications. But
Good, thank you.
Okay, and I know, Rose, that you're assisting with the county administrator recruitment and there is a meet and greet, correct, for the candidates for the county board and the public, and that is when? Madam Clerk? Monday at 4:30? Okay. Okay, anything else for Rose for Human Resources report? Thank you, Rose.
Mr. Chair, speaking of the recruitment for the administrator, there is the meet and greet. You are down to finalists, I believe. Is that correct? And those are public at this time. Do you announce who is the finalists?
You, Madam Clerk, I know.
I can announce the finalists, sure.
Scott Johnson is one finalist, Hayward native resident, and then we have Andy Alvarado from West County.
Thank you. Okay, then Rose, I guess we have 10B, personnel policy manual updates.
Yep, so in the online is a summary of what the changes are. A lot of it is just kind of correcting some typos or formats or stuff like that. The biggest things is we added a service animal policy for an employee if they want to or need a service animal. And we added the electronic timekeeping policy. We added the electronic portion to the timekeeping policy, and eventually we're hopeful everybody will be electronic, but for now we have both paper and electronic timekeeping. And all of the affected pages are also included on there if you wanted to go through and read them. But they're not very big changes, I guess is what I would say.
And it's just, yes, Mr. Schluter.
The service animals,
Mhm.
what definition are you using there? I mean, in recent news articles, there's been some controversy on what is a service animal.
So we have it defined as a service animal is an animal that has been individually trained to do work or perform tasks for the benefit of an individual with a disability, including a physical, sensory, psychiatric, intellectual, or other mental disability. That's kind of what the ADA and the state of Wisconsin has it defined as.
Okay.
So that's what we went with.
Okay, Rose, do you need action on that?
I think it has to go to the full board.
And we're ready to send it there with these updates? Tom, you agree? And Mike?
Yes.
Yeah. Probably need to cover a resolution for that also.
Get that done? All right. Motion by Mr. Kinsley to approve and present to the full county board the personnel policy manual updates, March 2022. And the resolution. Got that? Second by Mr. Schluter. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Rose, for all that. Will you be available at full county board, Rose, to answer any questions?
I can
Thank you. Okay, moving on, number 11, emergency management disaster declaration. Tom, do you want to handle this?
Yes, I've talked to Nate Dunstan, our emergency management manager, and the recommendation from the state due to the ice storm and some of the damage that occurred, that we should declare a disaster declaration, which was signed by the board chair on March 7th. It does need to be ratified by the full county board. I haven't talked to Nate this week on it, but he's still looking into if there was enough damage to make it worthwhile. And so by county board, we'll know if we want to proceed with that, but it would require county board approval to do that disaster declaration. So it's stopping here in admin just so that it hits a committee before it goes to the board. It's not required because it is a board action, but that's the story behind it. So
But there would be some potential for funds if it were to be
It's got to
significant
meet
enough
a
damages.
threshold and whatnot. They're looking into that, yes.
Got it. Or,
Does it require action? No?
well, just to move it to the full county
Well,
board.
absolutely. If Evers can give out all that money to Berkebiner, they can give us the money next.
Motion by Mr. Kinsley to approve the March 2022 disaster declaration and move to the full county board March 17th. Second by Mr. Duffy. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Schleter?
I'm just wondering, are they putting the cart before the horse? Should they see if there's enough damage first?
Mr. Hoff?
Does that make any difference?
I don't think it makes a difference. I mean, it will
Okay.
inform you at the board what the situation is at that time.
Sometimes they're time sensitive. You gotta have it in by X amount of time, but I don't know.
That's what I was wondering.
Right.
I think it puts a state on notice too. I think that's one.
Then let's ask Mr. Dunstan to be there as well, okay, to answer any questions on this. Okay. If there isn't any further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 12, County Administrator Report. This could be your
Thank you. All
last
right,
one.
just a couple of
Take notes,
items.
Mike.
This week, the Brown County sales tax situation had been resolved in the courts. The court said that Brown County did everything appropriately. There was some question as to whether that would affect other counties with sales tax. The contention was that Brown County didn't enact it appropriately and by reducing property taxes when they enacted a sales tax. So it was specific to Brown County, but it could have had repercussions throughout the state if that went the other way. So fortunately, the court sided with Brown County, and WCA backed them on that. So that's a good thing for us and for all the other counties that have sales tax. I did pass around the opioid rules, the settlement that was adopted by this board a couple months ago. And those uses can be determined how we're going to spend those opioid dollars in the future. I had suggested that, CJCC work through those programs are going to help, not only with, what they're doing now, but with the drug court and diversion activities as a requirement of the second courtroom. So that should dovetail very nicely in with that and with the TAD grant that we received from the state for the planning of that. So those are good things as well. We talked about a lot of the other stuff as we've gone along. We've been working with Mike and Rose on transition activities. They're set up to, get my email in the future or the email of the administrator that would come to me. So Mike and Rose will be keeping an eye on those things until the permanent administrator is hired. And then, those records are all kept obviously online as well. So, we've discussed a lot of things that, status of projects, where they're at, what they need to do, and they know how to get a hold of me if need be, but that's how we kind of handled that. With regards to this being my last committee meeting, just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you guys in Sawyer County in particular for allowing me to serve the county in this capacity. It's been an honor to serve as your first county administrator, and I'm glad you're continuing on with that endeavor. It's been a good ride, and I've appreciated the support that I've had from the board. It's allowed us to make a lot of improvements, and I've enjoyed my time here and appreciate again the opportunity.
Set the bar pretty high. Thank you.
Certainly agree, Mr. Hoff.
Thank you.
Is there any questions from the board for Mr. Hoff on the county administrator's report?
Good luck to you in the future.
Oh, I already have 2 job offers. One is a
Like-
flagger at Highway during the week, and then on the weekends, I'm going to be the aviation line service support person at the airport. So I'll be busy.
What about greeter at Walmart?
No, I'm sticking right with this stuff.
Well,
Thank
I
you.
agree, Mr. Hoff. We sure have been honored to have you as our county administrator. Our first county administrator.
Your best county administrator ever.
Best. These are pretty big shoes to fill, and we appreciate you. We surely do. Okay,
On the other hand, you
number
also the
13,
Thank you.
courthouse construction update, discussion and possible action. Entertain a motion then to go into closed session, courthouse construction bid update pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Motion by Mr. Duffy, second by Mr. Schleter. We're in close. All those in favor, roll call vote, Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Schumann,
Yes.
Mr. Schleter,
Yeah,
Mr. Kinsley.
Yes.
Mr. Duffy.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, motion carried. We're closed session 10. What do you got? 10. Back on me?
Yes.
Just gonna wait and see if a member of the public is there. Future agenda items.
I have none.
Mr. Hoff. You better think of this.
Update on the administration. Update on-
Yes.
Is there
Great
any
idea.
agenda item? Are you looking to approve a new person that night or potentially, or does it need to be on the agenda? or-
We're gonna put them on there. It depends if we're ready for that.
Employment officer dash county administrator.
Board approval, right?
Discussion on that.
Okay.
just personal, I want to make sure I got all the information. When are we doing the interviews?
Thought we were gonna do it here, but now where's the meet and greet?
Say when?
Oh, when?
Yeah.
Tuesday, 10 o'clock.
That's Tuesday, 10 o'clock.
Are we in this room or are we in the conference room up there?
Sounds like they moved. Rose has a schedule. I have not seen the final schedule.
Well, we can always change it.
The final, that was one of the things I sent. I think, didn't you reserved one
I
room,
reserved the upstairs,
the UW extension?
DW extension room as well.
Okay, so one of the group will be in the UW extension and then the other group will be in this group.
Sounds like they were interviewing in the smaller room and having the assembly room reserved for the department head meetings, according to the
Is
list
that
I
one of
saw.
the emails you sent me? Because there was a bunch of like, I got a question when you're done. When we're done. There will be one of the two rooms.
I'll let you know.
It's Tuesday the 15th.
I guess we're meeting at 9:30 and we start interviews at 10.
And on the 14th, you'll want to be here at 4:30 PM for the meeting.
Which has been noted to the public, correct, Madam Clerk? And we're gonna be at here.
Yes.
We're just looking for someone to lock it up. When we're done. Got Okay, great, thank you. So I invite any, I think all of you know this, but to meet the candidates on Monday evening at 4:30.
You'll be meeting them on Tuesday too.
Yeah,
I'm
just a little meet and
gonna miss
greet.
that Monday meeting. I got a meeting. in Complex. And so.
On Monday,
Monday, yeah, so.
the
We're not gonna
interviews.
have a meeting on Monday.
It's gonna meet and greet.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
And then on
And I just
Tuesday,
wanna
we
open
meet
that.
We meet here at 9:30, and there's only 2 candidates. So,
Correct.
It's either in this room or in the conference room.
Have you asked for confirmation of board supervisors that might attend Monday night?
I haven't been in my office since
Yeah.
last night.
All right, would that be appreciated? Thank you. I think we're in that one public here. Okay, anything else? Any other agenda items, discussion only? Lord, Mr. Off. Huh? What about you're having a little going away, right? You want to mention that?
Well,
Friday?
yeah, there's a little handshaking session 1 to 3 tomorrow. If anyone wants to stop by, but I can shake your hand today too if need be. And then I'm going to head out to the Boulevard about 5 o'clock Friday. So if there's anyone who wants to have a soup and sandwich,
what time is the gathering here?
1 to 3. Yeah, just informal, just
Yeah.
if anyone wants to
Get
come
coffee
in.
and tea and cookies. Nourishment.
Whiskey.
No,
Well,
that's just
you'll be-
ridiculous. Budweiser.
Mr. Hoff will be greatly missed.
Well, I'm going to miss you guys as well. It's
Okay,
been fun.
with that, we're adjourned.
We have signatures though.